Most people already know what the carnivore diet is. That's not what makes them quit. They quit because the first weeks do not look the way that they expected. I learned this the hard way, so I kept notes. 98 of them. Let's not waste any time and get right into it. This is what I wish I had the first time. There's also a free 30-day carnivore challenge for beginners in the description. It's one page, nothing complicated. Check it out after the video. Don't start today. Give yourself a few days. Starting on impulse usually turns the first inconvenience into a reason to stop. Think of this as a test, not something you are going to do for the rest of your life. Decide that you're just trying for a set period. 30 to 90 days is completely fine. That alone makes the beginning feel lighter. If you live alone, clear the fridge. If you don't, claim one shelf all for yourself. Knowing what food is yours removes a lot of mental noise. Buy more meat than you think that you will need. Most beginners underestimate how much they will eat, especially in the first week. Make sure that you're not almost out of food. That low supply feeling changes how everything feels, even when you're not actually hungry. Start with ground beef. It's cheap, forgiving, and doesn't require effort. You don't need variety yet. Get the fatty kind. Lean ground beef looks fine until you're hungry again an hour later. That's not a willpower issue. Lean meat feels okay at first, then shows up in other ways. Lower energy, restlessness, usually later that day or the next morning. Eggs help on days where meat feels like too much. Sometimes appetite is there, but chewing isn't. Eggs make those days easier. Butter runs out so fast. You will add it without thinking, then suddenly it's gone. Bacon is useful, just not filling on its own. It works better next to a real meal, not as the main meal. Don't buy any supplements yet. You haven't even seen how your body reacts. Adding things now just ruins the picture. If you already drink coffee, keep it. This isn't the moment to fix everything. One change at a time. The more rules you add, the heavier it feels. Early on, simplicity does more than optimization. Let boring do its job. Don't tell everyone that you're doing the carnivore diet. You will end up explaining yourself before you've even felt anything. That gets old fast. Questions will come up before results do. Most of them won't help. You don't need to answer them yet. Day one usually feels easy. You are motivated and food feels simple. Almost nobody quits on day one. Day two feels different. Hunger shows up earlier than expected. Your mind starts checking in on food more often. Day three is the hardest for a lot of people. This is when the carb transition shows up. Energy and mood can feel a bit off. Headaches are common early on. Most of the time you are just low on salt. It's rarely the meat, and it's definitely not because you stopped eating carbs. So don't even think about it. Feeling tired in the first few days is normal. Your body is learning to run on different fuel. That adjustment costs energy at first. Your thoughts can get noisy. You will start questioning things that felt obvious 2 days ago. That doesn't mean that anything is wrong. Eat when you're hungry. This isn't the week to push long gaps between meals. Eating enough makes everything else so much easier. Don't try to fast yet. Fasting plus diet change is a lot at once. Let your body settle first. If you're hungry again shortly after eating, eat again. That usually means the meal was too small, not that something has failed. Cook meat the way that you actually like it. Don't force yourself to eat rare steak if you hate it. Let me tell you something. Before carnivore, I never would eat a steak that is not well done. Yeah, scream at me. But now, I would prefer to never eat a well-done steak. Enjoyment matters more than ideals or the opinions of others. Add more salt than you think that you need, especially in the first week. Undersalting shows up fast as headaches or low energy. If meat tastes bland or unsatisfying, take a guess. Just add salt first. Before changing foods or relying on spices, spices can be fine for carnivore, however, they are proven to mess with your hunger signals, so I would really advise you to stick to salt at first, before assuming something is wrong. Obviously, drink water when you're thirsty. You don't need to force large amounts. Too much water without salt can make things worse. Cravings usually hit in the first few days. They can feel pretty intense. They also pass faster than they feel like they will. When you crave something specific, eat meat first. Then wait a few minutes. A lot of cravings disappear after that. Avoid recreating old foods. Carnivore versions of past meals keep your attention on what you are missing. Simple meals make the transition easier, at least in the first week. Set a few benchmarks in terms of days and treat yourself with a carnivore-friendly soup, for example. If you go off plan, don't spiral. Just eat your next meal like normal. One meal doesn't undo anything. Most beginners do not eat enough. They remove carbs but don't replace them properly. That creates problems that look like the diet is failing. Hunger, low mood, and feeling on edge often show up together. Most of the time, you just need to eat more. If you're thinking about food all day, you also probably need to eat more. Carnivores should quiet hunger, not amplify it. If the hunger is loud, you really should just eat. Eating large amounts of meat early on is normal. 2 pounds a day isn't extreme for many people, especially during adaptation. Not eating enough fat keeps meals unsatisfying. Protein alone doesn't hold appetite down for long. Fat does most of the work here. Lean cuts don't keep you full for long. You finish eating and feel hungry again sooner than expected. That often leads to eating more throughout the day. Adding fat fixes more issues than people expect. Butter, tallow, or fattier cuts, often that's enough. Organ meats aren't required at the start. Adding them too early can complicate things, especially if you're not a fan of them. You can always introduce them later. Bone broth isn't necessary either. It doesn't solve adaptation issues on its own. Focus on real meals first. Trying new foods too often makes it harder to tell what's working and what's not. Repeating the same meals makes changes easier to notice. Trying to do it perfectly adds pressure. Pressure makes small problems feel big. Big problems make people quit. Dizziness usually means low salt, especially when standing up. It's one of the most common early signals. But really, adding salt often fixes it quickly. Before adding supplements, before changing foods, just add salt. Magnesium can help some people, but it's not the first step. Try food and salt adjustments first, always. Potassium supplements usually aren't needed. Most people get enough from meat. Chasing electrolytes too early causes confusion. Cooking every meal from scratch gets old fast. If you can, cook extra. Having food ready removes a lot of friction. You don't need any special equipment. One pan is enough. Simple tools keep this from feeling like a project. Meat doesn't need any recipes. Salt and heat do most of the work. Overthinking cooking makes meals heavier than they need to be. Ground beef is the fallback meal. When you don't feel like cooking, it still works. Knowing you have a default really helps. Steak doesn't need a ritual. Cook it, eat it, move on. It doesn't have to be perfect. Air fryers are amazing, especially when you want something fast. No extra thinking involved. If you want the one I use, the Typhordome 2, there's a link in the description with a 10% off when using the code MEATMEAT. I use it every single day, twice a day. Eating out is simpler than it sounds. Burger patties without the bun, you can easily order them even at McDonald's. Steakhouses are pretty easy. You order steak, skip the sides. At some places you can simply say that you have seed oil allergy and ask to cook in butter instead. Sometimes sides still do show up. I'll just ignore them. It's not a big moment. Modifying orders do feel awkward. But once. After that, nobody cares. Not the staff, not the kitchen. If you'll be out for a long time, make sure to bring food. Being hungry with no options changes how decisions get made. You don't owe anyone a full explanation. Saying something like, "I'm just eating meat right now," is enough. Most people drop asking for an explanation. Some people won't. That's their thing. You don't need to manage it. Social pressure shows up early, usually before results do. That timing throws people off. All I can say is stay strong. You are doing this for yourself at the end of the day. Somewhere in the second week, energy evens out. The sharp ups and downs fade, days start feeling more predictable. Hunger becomes easier to read, it's less urgent and less emotional. You notice it earlier before it gets loud. Meals start spacing themselves out. Not because you're trying to eat less, you just stay full longer. A lot of people drift into 2 meals a day. It happens without planning. There's nothing special you need to do to make it happen. Some people don't. They eat 3 meals and feel fine. That's still working. Digestion usually shifts during this phase. Sometimes it feels smoother, sometimes it feels strange for a bit. Loose stools early on are very common. It's usually your body adjusting to more fat. This phase passes for most people. Constipation can show up later. That's often a fat issue too. Eating more usually helps. Your body is learning how to use this kind of food. That learning is not instant. It settles with time, not with force. Food starts to matter less. You still eat. It just takes up less space in your head. You think about meals less. You're not planning your next one all day. That quiet is noticeable. It's really beautiful when your body shuts the hell up. Carb cravings fade for most people. They still do pop up every now and then. When that happens, it's brief. You notice them and they're gone. Small changes show their effect slowly. If you tweak something, give it a few days. Day-to-day reactions lie. Changing multiple things at once hides cause and effect. One adjustment at a time makes the patterns visible. That's how you learn what actually helps. Some weeks feel flat even when nothing is wrong. No big improvements, no big problems. But that's the part of settling in. Progress isn't always physical. Mood, focus, and patience often change first. Those are easy to miss if you're only watching the scale. Energy can vary day to day for reasons unrelated to food. Sleep, stress, work, and movement still matter. Not every off day needs fixing. More structure helps some people. Same meals, same times, same shopping list. Others do better with flexibility. Once things feel stable, curiosity creeps in. That's a good sign. It means that the basics are working. Experiments work better when the baseline is boring. Change one thing, then go back to normal. If something creates friction, notice it. Friction is usually the first warning sign. Smooth routines last longer. Warm meat is easier to eat than cold meat. Cold leftovers can kill appetite. That matters more than people think. If ground beef gets boring, switch animals. Pork, lamb, same structure, different feel. Chicken works, but it doesn't hold hunger well. You will probably need more fat with it, or eat again sooner. Fish fits fine. Of course, fatty fish works best. Lean fish kind of feels like chicken. Cheese works for some people, for others it quietly slows things down. It's really worth paying attention to. If weight is dropping fast, you might need more food. Eating less isn't always the answer. Sometimes it's the problem. Appetite usually drops on its own. You don't need to force meals. Let it happen naturally. Keep things simple for at least a month. Early experiments blur the signal. Clarity comes from repetition. Remember, this doesn't have to be permanent. A fixed time frame reduces pressure. Pressure ruins consistency. Seeing how other people experience the first month really helps. It gives you a reference point for what's normal. That makes it easier not to overreact to small issues. Your day-to-day experience is the signal. How you wake up, eat, look, and think matter more than any kind of tracking. A lot of people feel worse before they feel better. That phase doesn't last forever. It usually passes quietly. If this doesn't work for you, you will notice, and you'll have real information to work with. That still counts as progress. Don't try to fix every bad day. Some days just feel off for reasons unrelated to food. Let a few of them pass before you change anything. That's the full list. 98 things that make the start easier, quieter, and more predictable. You won't remember all of them. You don't need to. If you want something simple to follow alongside this, there's a free 30-day carnivore challenge linked in the description. No rules to memorize, just a clear structure for getting through the first month without overthinking it. And if you're brand new and want this broken down slower, there's a Carnivore for Beginners playlist in the description as well. You can move through it at your own pace. Thank you for watching, see you next time.